All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to tell all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as we are simply sharing our passion with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. Folks, we are definitely rounding third base here with the Chin Check Sports Radio top 10 most controversial boxing decisions of all time based on the fights that we grew up watching, which now brings us to June 9th, 2012, Manny Pacquiao facing Tim Bradley, or as you saw on the thumbnail, Tim Bradley, a unanimous victory over one Manny Pacquiao. So some backstory going into this fight. This was around the time where the talk was heavy for Manny Pacquiao to face Floyd Mayweather. Even though they eventually fought in 2015, but that time frame between 2009 when Floyd came out of his self-imposed retirement to that 2012, 2013, and even up until when the fight was signed, that was a real hot time in boxing where people really wanted to fight for whatever reason. And of course, both sides have their reasonings for why the fight didn't occur then. But obviously, the fight negotiations, they fell apart. So Timothy Bradley, who was the light welterweight or 140 pound champion, had moved up in weight class to fight Manny Pacquiao. So going to this fight, Timothy Heads of Storm Bradley was 28-0. Very impressive record. Now, if you look at his notable fights, May of 2008, a split decision victory against former Titleist Junior Witter. In April of 2009, a unanimous victory against Kendall Holt, a fighter out of the great state of New Jersey. August of 2009, a no contest against one Nate Campbell. December of 2009, a unanimous victory over then undefeated Lamont Peterson, a fighter out of Washington, D.C. January of 2011, another technical decision over one Devin Alexander, who was also undefeated, a fighter out of St. Louis. At that time, even though the welterweight division has always been one of the glamour divisions of boxing, along with the middleweight, lightweight, and heavyweight, there was a time where the junior welterweights at 140 pounds definitely had some quality fighters. Of course, as hardcore fight fans that we are, we actually remember watching these guys, and Timothy Bradley beat all of them. In November of 2011, a TKO in the 8th round over Cuban fighter Joel Casamayor, the Casamayor who been in with all the top guys of his era, including the late Diego Chico Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, Acelino Popo Freitas. So definitely, even though he was an older Casamayor, but definitely had his share of ring wars. The great Manny Pacquiao going to this fight. Some notable fights in his career. One of them that made the Chin Check Sports Radio top 10 upsets of all time. November 2003, a TKO in the 11th round against, again, Chin Check Sports Radio tied for number 9 top fight of all time, Marco Antonio Barrera. May of 2004, in a classic fight, a draw against Juan Manuel Marquez that has been discussed in both the broadcasts how we did on both of those fighters. Again, with the knockdowns in the first round, and clearly a judge made a miscalculation in scoring the fight that Pacquiao really should have won the fight. But as the fight progressed, you saw Marquez winning more rounds. March of 2005, a unanimous decision loss to one Eric Morales. Now, Eric Morales, like Juan Barrera, tied for number 9 on the Chin Check Sports Radio top 10 fighters of all time that we grew up watching, and we highly encourage you to go listen to that broadcast. And keep that date in mind, March 19th, 2005. January of 2006, a TKO in the 10th round against the aforementioned Erik Morales. Again, avenging that early loss, and we definitely remember watching both of those fights. Again, classics, and folks, please watch them. July of 2006, a unanimous decision victory over Oscar Larios. November of 2006, a KO in the 3rd round against Erik Morales. So, Manny Pacquiao in his career has already knocked out Barrera and has beaten Erik Morales twice, including 2 knockouts. October of 2007, a unanimous decision victory over Marco Antonio Barrera. So again, Pacquiao, 2 victories over Barrera, 2 over Morales, including 2 knockouts of Morales. And folks, these are considered some of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. A split decision victory in March of 2008 against Juan Manuel Marquez. Again, another classic close fight that could have went either way. June of 2008, a TKO in the 9th round against one David Diaz. The fight that really put Pacquiao on the map. December of 2008, an absolute destruction of Oscar De La Hoya. Again, De La Hoya, who we always have stated, he was one of the few crossover stars in boxing history, along the same lines of Muhammad Ali, a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Mike Tyson, definitely a darling of the boxing media. And again, this was an older De La Hoya who decided to move back down to the welterweight division, a division that he really hadn't fought in, 7-8 years. So definitely De La Hoya. To watch Pacquiao destroy De La Hoya, that pretty much Pacquiao on the map with a lot of mainstream boxing fans. May of 2005, devastating knockout against one Ricky Hatton. In November of 2009, as we have always stated, and we felt this was Pacquiao's most dominant performance, a TKO in the 12th round against Puerto Rican icon Miguel Cotto. Again, a Miguel Cotto who was a naturally larger fighter with a heavy punch, and the way Pacquiao just destroyed Cotto was definitely shocking watching it. March of 2010, unanimous victory over Joshua Clottey. That was in, believe it or not, when Manny Pacquiao seemed to own the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, had some quality fights over there. In November of 2010, a unanimous decision victory over Antonio Margarito. May of 2011, a unanimous decision victory over Sugar Shane Mosley. November of 2011, in the 3rd fight against Marquez, another close, hotly contested majority decision in his favor. So again, Manny Pacquiao, 2 wins over Marquez, 2 wins over Barrera, 2 wins over Morales, and KO victories facing Oscar De La Hoya as well as Miguel Cotto. So now you see why there was a big push that fight fans really wanted to see the fight versus him and Floyd Mayweather that we eventually got 3 years later. Now going to this action, Manny Pacquiao was a 7-2 favorite. Of course, it was a huge fight for Manny Pacquiao. Again, helping his stardust grow. You have, again, Tim Bradley, who was moving up in weight to actually take this fight. So going into the action, the first round, we scored the first round for Timothy Bradley. We felt that Bradley controlled the pace of the fight, while Pacquiao might have exploded maybe the last 20, 30 seconds of the particular round. But we thought that Bradley did enough to control the round. Again, even though Pacquiao was a much more exciting fighter, kind of like the whirlwind fighter, kind of the human version of the Tasmanian Devil, just came with the whirlwind and a lot of energy that got people excited. But if you actually look at the ring action, we gave the first round to Timothy Bradley. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds all went to Manny Pacquiao. Even in some portions, I believe the 4th round where he kind of hurt Timothy Bradley. So you saw some of those early rounds with the explosiveness and the punching power of one Manny Pacquiao to hurt Timothy Bradley on more than one occasion. So we definitely gave Pac-Man a lot of those rounds. And it was one of those things where Bradley was getting hit by the same straight left hand, again, where Pacquiao's timing, hand speed, and his accuracy was just a thing of beauty, along with Tim Bradley not moving his head at all. And that head was a sitting target for that straight left hand. In the 7th round, you can give Bradley the 7th round because we thought Bradley did a little bit more, to actually win the round. So he definitely did what he had to do. The 8th and the 9th went to Pacquiao. Again, in our opinion, we gave the 10th round to Bradley. A clear Bradley win. We thought he definitely landed more punches, had a beautiful right hand. Definitely to win the round. Now, some people can argue whether Bradley won the 7th round. Some people gave it to Pacquiao, but we gave the 7th to Bradley, the 1st to Bradley, and the 10th round to Bradley. Now, in the 11th round, now, honestly, the fight was a little bit too late because, again, we've given the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th round to Manny Pacquiao. You can throw in the 8th and the 9th. That's 9 rounds right. I'm sorry, that's 7 rounds right there. Now, going to the 10th, you can give the 10th round, as we stated, to Timothy Bradley by far. The 11th round. Now, here was one of those things, again, where Bradley might have controlled the early action, but Pacquiao landed late with the harder punches. So you can give that round to Manny Pacquiao, and it's based on a slower round. You can give the 12th round maybe to Pacquiao as well. So again, Pacquiao clearly won a fight, but the judges in that fight, Dwayne Ford and CJ Ross, scored about 115, 113 in favor of Timothy Bradley, while one Jerry Roth scored the fight 115, 113 in the favor of Manny Pacquiao. Folks, there is no way that Timothy Bradley won 7 rounds in this fight. There is no way. Folks, at best, you can give Bradley 4 rounds, and that's really stretching it. At best. Now, if you watch the fight, Bradley kept on fighting. He was fighting his fight. He was trying to do the best he can. But clearly he was in there with a stepping up in class of fighters. You clearly see it. Now, getting past the HBO commentary team, yes, I did agree with Max Kellerman of what he stated, that you have a good fighter in Timothy Bradley who is fighting a great fighter in Pacquiao again. And this is Manny Pacquiao, really still kind of at the peak of his powers. He was becoming a global icon. And again, the shots he was landing, it definitely was those explosive shots. Now, maybe he might have lost a step because a lot of Pacquiao's rounds that he won was basically explosive punching for like a good minute and a half sequence. So that's how Pacquiao ended up winning that fight. So Bradley, yes. Was he, now, if you watch the fight by wide scorecards or look at other people's scorecards besides the judges, you have people giving, Bradley maybe 1-2 rounds at the most, 3 rounds at the most. And that's really at the most. 4 is really stretching it. But it wasn't like he was getting totally just dominated and totally just getting whooped up on. Again, he kept on coming. He kept fighting. He was winning rounds towards the end of the fight. So he definitely did what he had to do. So we give all credit to Timothy Bradley for never quitting and never refusing to stop. And he really kept on coming. That's why we didn't agree with the backlash that this man got. Because remember, he didn't score the fight. The judges did. And remember when we started this list, we stated that it'll be some fights we looking where, what the hell were the judges watching? This is one of those fights, what the hell were the judges watching? Because again, there is no way that you can give Timothy Bradley 7 rounds in this particular boxing match. 4 is a stretch, 5 is absolute hell no. So definitely a bad decision. Now, the reason why this was a worse decision, I can make an argument in terms of the scorecards was a worse. And of course, people can listen to it and kind of draw your own conclusion. But the next fight that we're going to discuss, the reason why that fight is higher than this fight was because of the quality of the fighters. And we're definitely not going to spoil it, but the peak power of the 2 fighters. So both of the fighters were stars. In this fight, Pacquiao, he was a star. And while Bradley, while known to hardcore boxing fans, but to the mainstream, not so much. So that's why this fight, just on that alone, because again, we talked about our criteria for making this list, is the egregiousness of the decision, as well as the star power of the fighters, the title that was on the line. So this one just is a notch below the next fight that we're getting ready to discuss. That should be coming to you soon. But folks, when I tell you, we are thoroughly enjoying putting this list together. It is fun. We are definitely going down our memory lane, watching these fights. It's fun. Please definitely enjoy it with us. And until the next time, it's Chin Check Sports Radio. Oh, and we also mentioned, Remember that we stated that first Morales fight, to keep that in mind, the Timothy Bradley fight was the first fight that Manny Pacquiao had lost in 7 years. And of course, we're going to use the word lost in quotes because we don't really think he lost. But this fight, so it goes to show you the dominance of one Manny Pacquiao and the guys he beat and or knocked out in the 7 years alone itself was a Hall of Fame career, or is a Hall of Fame career. And eventually Pacquiao will be in the Hall of Fame if he's not already. That was Pacquiao's first loss in 7 years. So let that sink in as to the greatness and the dominance of one Manny Pacquiao. So until the next time, Chin Check Sports Radio, signing out.